And we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Mufasa's Daily Book Reading at Noon. We're going to be reading chapter 8 of our wonderful book by Stephen R. Covey. And today's chapter is on trustworthiness, modeling character and competence. Remember, if you've missed any of our readings, you will find them on our YouTube channel. The link to our YouTube channel is on today's description of the live. You will also find all of our beautiful readings in wonderful playlists, so all the previous books that we've read as well. um, Hello to the person who's watching this. I hope you enjoy this reading. I trust you're going to enjoy this reading. And also, if you're watching this in the replay, remember to leave any of your comments and we will attend to them as soon as possible. My 10 minutes is set. Let me start reading. I trust that you've had a wonderful week and are excited to shift into the weekend. And I think this is a powerful way to shift into our weekend with this book. Okay. The voice of trustworthiness, modeling character and competence. The supreme quality for leadership is unquestionably integrity. Without it, no real success is possible, no matter whether it is on a section gang, a football field, in an army, or in an office. And that is a quote by Dwight David Eisenhower. Some time ago, I was asked to consult for a bank that was having a problem with employee morale. I don't know what's wrong, bemoaned the young president. Bright and uh, bright and charismatic, he'd risen through the ranks only to see his institution flattering. Productivity and profits were down. He blamed his employees. No matter what incentives I provide, he said, they won't shake off this gloom and doom. He was right. The atmosphere seemed poisoned with suspicion and lack of trust. For 2 months, I ran workshops, but nothing helped. I was stumped. How can anyone trust what's happening here? Was a typical employee refrain, but no one could tell me the source of the distrust. Finally, in more casual conversations, the truth emerged. The boss, who was married, was having an affair with an employee, and everyone knew it. It was obvious now that the company's poor performance was caused by his conduct. But the greatest damage this man was doing was to himself. He was thinking only of his own gratification, disregarding long-term consequences. Moreover, he had violated a sacred trust with his wife. In a word, his failing was one of character. 90% of all leadership failures are character failures. Just as trust is the key to all relationships, so also is trust the glue of organizations. That's very nice. That's a nice quote. Put that in the comment section. Trust is the glue of organizations. It is the cement that holds the bricks together. I have also learned that trust is the fruit of the trustworthiness of both people and organizations. Trust comes from three sources: the person, the institution, and one person consciously choosing to give it to another. An act that leads me to feel your belief that I can add value. You give me trust and I return it. Trust is a verb and a noun. When it's both a verb and a noun, it's something shared and reciprocated between people. That is the essence of how a person becomes the leader of their boss. They merit trust by giving it. Trust, the verb, comes from the potential trustworthiness of the one receiving the trust and the clear trustworthiness of the one giving the trust. The fourth role, empowering, embodies making trust a verb. We've surveyed over 54,000 people and asked them to identify the essential qualities of a leader. Integrity was by far the number one response. In many settings today, it is out of vogue to speak in terms of character. It becomes equated with soft, touchy-feely stuff or with someone's religion. Some people wonder if our inner values matter anymore. After all, hasn't our noted bank executive succeeded in every visible way, despite his transgressions? This question demonstrates a quandary of our modern life. Many have come to believe that the only things we need for success are talent, energy, and personality. But history has taught us that over the long haul, who we are is more important than who we appear to be. As I did, as I did a review of leadership and success literature going back to the founding of the United States, in preparation for writing The Seventh Habit, I found that during the first 150 years, the focus was almost exclusively of the importance of character and principles. As we moved into the industrial age and after World War I, the focus began to shift to personality, techniques, and technologies, what we call personal ethic. This trend is continuing, but I sense a counter trend emerging as people experience the fruits of valueless organizational culture. More and more organizations are recognizing the need for trustworthiness, for character, for producing trust in the culture. More and more people are seeing the need to look deeply into their own souls, to sense how they themselves contribute to the problems, and to figure out exactly what they can do to contribute to the solution and serve human needs. Character, in the long run, is the decisive factor in the life of an individual and of nations alike. Character, in the long run, is the decisive factor in the life of an individual and of nations alike. Theodore Roosevelt. What became of the bank president who was intimately involved with an employee? When I confided to him what I knew of his affair and the effect it was having on his staff, he ran his fingers through his hair. I don't know where to begin, he said. Is it over? I asked. He looked me squarely in the eye. Yes, absolutely. Then began by talking with your wife, I answered. Then begin by talking with your wife, I answered. He told his wife who forgave him. Then he called a meeting of his staff and addressed their moral problem. I have found the cause of the problem, he said. It is me. I am going and I'm asking you to give me another chance. It took time, but eventually employee morale, a sense of openness, optimism, trust improved. In the end, however, the executive was doing himself the greatest favor. He was finding his own path to character. I like that. He was finding his own path to character. You know? Personal trustworthiness. Wherever you find Wherever you find lasting trust, you will find trustworthiness. It is always so. It is a principle. Just as trust comes from trustworthiness, trustworthiness comes from character and competence. When you develop both strong character and competence, the truth, the fruit is wisdom and judgment, the foundation of all great and lasting achievement and trust. The following diagram helps to identify the main characters dealing with the production of trust. Let's begin with the three facets of personal character: integrity, maturity, and abundant mentality. Integrity means an integrated you are integrated around principles and natural laws that ultimately govern the consequence of our behavior. Honesty is the principle of telling the truth. Integrity is keeping promises made to self and to others. One man cannot do right in one department of life whilst he is occupied in doing wrong in another department. Life is one invincible whole. One man cannot do right in the department of life, in one department of life, whilst he is occupied in doing wrong in any other department. Life is one indivisible whole. Maturity develops when a person say, Maturity develops when a person pays the price of integrity and winning the private victory over self, allowing him or her to be simultaneously courageous and kind. In other words, such a person can deal with tough issues compassionately. The contribution of courage and kindness is both the source and the product of integrity. So I'm going to read abundance mentality just for the last portion. Abundance mentality means that rather than seeing life as a competition with only one winner, you see it as a cornucopia of ever enlarging opportunity, resources, and wealth. You don't compare yourself to others and you are genuinely happy for their successes. Scarcity mindset comes out of a compassion based identity, and people like this are threatened by the successes of others. Even though they might pretend and say otherwise, they know that it's eating their hearts out. So today you get to choose whether you are leading from an abundance mindset or from a scarcity mindset. Remember, you get to choose. I hope that you've enjoyed today's reading. I will see you on Monday. Enjoy your weekend. Let me check. Of course, I have to check the comments and see if there's anything there. And I do. Ayanda here saying hello, hello. She's been catching up on the first book readings on YouTube, and she says that the playlist is really helpful. That's awesome. That's what we want it to do. Our intention is that you can go back to what we've already read and you can start anyway and just enjoy all the wonderful gems that are there. And she says, oh yes, this is what I asked for you guys to type. Trust is the glue of an organization. And she did. Yes, you did spell it correctly. You captured it absolutely well. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you so much for your comments, and I will see you on Monday. Bye.